Lisa Benton. Early one afternoon in mid-October 1991, Lisa Benton, 27, gazed at the thin partitions of her cubicle and reflected on the past 4 months of her job as an assistant product manager in the home care division of Houseworld. Benton was bored with her job and lack of responsibility, and frustrated by her relationships with her boss, Deborah Linton, and her colleague, associate product manager Ron Scoville. From her first day at work, when Linton had informed her that she did not like Harvard MBAs, Benton had struggled unsuccessfully to please her boss. A series of stormy exchanges with Scoville had compounded her problems. Recently, he had accused her of being a cocky MBA when she expressed her opinion. Benton was concerned about these events, and especially about her less than promising performance review, and she contemplated her future in the company with increasing consternation. Background: between her first and second years at the Harvard Business School, Benton worked as assistant to the president of Right Away Stores, a premier chain of convenience food stores based in Chicago. She enjoyed the job and was proud of the new non-merchandising services that she had successfully introduced, in particular the inline roller skate rentals, a project she had supervised from concept to execution. The kickoff to this project, a skating cookout, had been a huge morale booster for Right Away employees. Right Away President Scott Kingston, himself a Harvard MBA, was especially pleased with Benton's performance. Not only had she been the first woman manager in the company, her roll-up-your-sleeves approach won people over and allowed Benton to relate well to employees at all levels. At the end of the summer internship, Kingston offered her a full-time position upon graduation, as well as part-time consulting during her second year at HBS. Job choice: Benton and her husband finished their studies simultaneously and faced the decision of where they would go next. Chicago held opportunities for both of them, and Benton's husband would take up residency in a hospital in that city in July. Lisa Benton had to choose between two positions, one as director of marketing at Right Away, the other as assistant product manager at Houseworld's home care division. The job at Right Away was clearly appealing. Not only was its salary substantially higher than the offer from Houseworld, Kingston indicated that Benton would be promoted to vice president in a few years. While flattered, Benton was hesitant. She was concerned about assuming so much marketing responsibility based only on a summer's internship. Benton knew that Kingston believed in her abilities, but she would actually be reporting to the vice president of operations and was unsure about his reactions to her. Moreover, while the offer sounded attractive, Right Away seemed anything but glamorous. A small company, its headquarters were in a rundown warehouse section of Chicago. And while Lisa had done well as the first woman manager, she also missed having other women managers around. In contrast, by taking the position at Houseworld, Benton would receive classical marketing training in a structured environment from an industry leader. The people whom she had met during her interviews struck her as being professional, well-educated, and outgoing. And the company was headquartered in a brand new office building downtown. Benton turned down the Right Away job in early April, 8 months after she had been invited to return, and just after she accepted the Houseworld offer. She had ceased consulting for Right Away in January and had told Kingston that she intended to interview elsewhere. Nonetheless, he was upset by her choice. He had invested so much time and money in her, he claimed, because he believed that she, in particular, would fit into his tightly knit organization. The summer internship as well as the months of consulting had all been part of his plan to draw her gradually into the company. Now, he indicated, he was set back a year because of her decision. Benton reminded him that she had mentioned that she would be looking at other companies, and that Houseworld would offer her the extra marketing training she needed at this point in her career. She also said she wanted to keep in touch with Kingston and hoped that he would keep her in mind in the future. Kingston wished Benton good luck but suggested that she was making a big mistake. Houseworld. Before interviewing with Houseworld, Benton had tried to learn as much as possible about the company. She read the relevant material in the Career Resource Center and also spoke with a product manager at Houseworld to whom she had been referred by a friend at HBS. Houseworld was an established consumer products company specializing in home care goods, holding the largest market share in many of its product groups. While it was regarded as a conservative company, its reputation for providing excellent marketing training had attracted MBAs from the top-tier business schools. Houseworld consisted of 3 decentralized divisions: home care, paper, and laundry. Home care, considered to be the rising star of the company, and the grooming ground for top management talent, was the division that was recruiting at HBS. The product manager whom Benton had contacted during her research spoke highly of the president of home care, characterizing him as an aggressive innovator who had great plans for turning home care into the dominant division at Houseworld. He also said that he liked the marketing staff, and that they were a decent group of people. He assured Benton that home care was a secure division. but said that at present, morale in the marketing area was low because there had been very few promotions in the past few years. When Benton interviewed at Home Care, she met with several product managers and was particularly impressed with Group Product Manager Richard Clark. Benton also talked more informally at lunch and dinner with some of the assistant and associate product managers. One, a Wharton MBA, told Benton that the product management staff was a supportive bunch who worked hard but liked to have fun. The 8:30 to 5:30 hours that most marketing people kept seemed very reasonable to Benton, and she planned to lead a balanced life. Benton asked what her role would be as a new assistant product manager, and they told her she would assume responsibility quickly and become a product manager within 2 to 3 years. Benton knew from researching the other top consumer packaging companies that the route to product management usually took from 3 to 4 years, and she was attracted by Home Care's faster career path. In the first year, she would be immersed in the day-to-day brand business through assignments on different product management teams. Benton learned that product managers generally moved assignments every 18 to 24 months, and associates and assistant product managers moved assignments every 12 to 18 months. This practice, typical of the leading brand management companies, allowed product managers to acquire experience in different stages of the product life cycle. It sometimes made it difficult, however, to develop close working relationships. Benton also learned that Houseworld used an MBO evaluation process, and that promotion occurred from within. It was the product manager's responsibility to groom his or her associates to be promotable. At the end of the lunch, one of the associate product managers told her, "You're the kind of person the company wants. You're so enthusiastic." Benton was offered the job of assistant product manager in the home care division and was invited to return to the company for a second visit. As was standard procedure at Home Care and other consumer packaging companies, she was informed that she would not know until the first day of work who her boss was or to what product she had been assigned. Because working relationships had always been important to her, this prospect made Benton somewhat nervous, but it was reassuring to know that she had liked all of the people she had met at Houseworld. They seemed warm and down to earth, and Benton thought she would be able to get along with most of them. On April 7th, Benton accepted the job at Home Care. Initiation. Arriving at 8:30 a.m. on June 15th for her first day at Houseworld, Benton was taken to meet her new boss, Deborah Linton, a woman that Benton had not met during the interview process. Benton was immediately struck by Linton's attractive office on the 20th floor and her boss's sophisticated appearance and confident manner. Linton greeted Benton pleasantly and said that she was not expecting Benton for another week and that her office was not set up yet. She then called in Ron Scoville, the associate product manager, and asked him to help Benton get settled. Assistant and associate product managers worked in cubicles situated in the middle of the 20th floor. Dividers 5.5 feet tall separating the small, rectangular offices had given the area the nickname Hamster Haven. While gathering supplies to stock her new office, Benton noticed Richard Clark, the group product manager who had impressed her during the recruiting process. She was disappointed that he barely remembered her and did not stop to welcome her aboard. Later that morning, Linton invited Benton into her office and opened the conversation by saying, "I've seen your resume and know something about your experience. I think you'll find your position an interesting one." After explaining some of the demands of the job, she declared in a quiet but firm tone, "MBAs act like they know a lot more than they do. The only way to learn is on the job, and your formal education won't help you. I've known some Harvard MBAs, and I don't like them." Linton mentioned that she did not have an MBA. She had been with the company for 7 years and had worked her way up as one of Houseworld's first woman product managers. She warned Benton that she would have to prove herself like anyone else. Benton leaned forward uncomfortably in her chair and responded, "It makes sense to me that in this job, like most jobs, you have to learn from the bottom up. I also agree with you that some MBAs are arrogant, but I am willing to work hard and prove myself." Right away, I rolled up my sleeves and did everything from stocking shelves to financial planning. Benton hoped this would convey the impression that she was a down-to-earth person with no pretensions. Linton explained that because this was an extremely busy time in the product management cycle, she would not have much time for Benton in the first few weeks, but that she should feel free to stop by her office if she had any questions. Benton's job was to help with the brand review and assist Scoville, but Linton stated clearly that Benton was to report to her and not to Scoville. She told Benton to get to know her way around and that in a couple of weeks, they would sit down and work out objectives. Linton also promised to take her to lunch when she had time. Benton left disappointed by what she felt was a cool and disinterested reception by her new boss. Around noon, Scoville, whose cubicle adjoined Benton's, invited her out to lunch. They went across the street to a small crowded restaurant. He opened the door and pulled her chair out for her, and Benton suddenly felt conscious of the fact that she was a woman. Scoville had moved from operations into marketing and did not have an MBA. He appeared somewhat unkempt to Benton, compared to the other well-dressed men she had noticed on the marketing floor. At one point he asserted, "I'm a corporate misfit, so don't develop a style like mine. But I'm smarter and more competent than most people at home care. My problem is style, not substance." He explained that he had an aggressive, no-nonsense style and absolutely no patience for politics. He said with disdain that some of the successful product managers and associates focused on pleasing other people and playing politics. Scoville also mentioned that he was not impressed with MBAs, especially those from Harvard, but that if Benton relied on him, she would learn a lot. Scoville promised to teach Benton all the ropes of product management, and Benton began to feel that he was acting like an overbearing big brother. He pontificated, "Lisa, bear in mind that for the first 6 months you're in a learning mode. Even though you'll have to dig in and learn the brand business, you won't be expected to be a brand wizard or decision maker until several months from now." Scoville implied that home care was a highly structured environment with many rules he expected her to follow, even though he seemed to feel that he was above them. He told her not to be late for meetings and not to rely on the train, the means of transportation she said she was planning to use, because sometimes she would need to stay late. After lunch, Benton returned to her new office and started reading product literature on Pure and Fresh, the solid air freshener brand that Linton had assigned her that morning. One of the assistant product managers Benton had dined with during recruiting stopped by her cubicle and gave Benton a warm, enthusiastic welcome. She grimaced, however, upon learning about Benton's brand assignment with Scoville and Linton. Around 4 o'clock, Benton asked Scoville what she could do to help on the brand review, and he handed her a large stack of reports to copy. Benton completed the task around 7 p.m. Most of the other product management staff had left around 5:30 p.m. As she reviewed her first day at Houseworld on her way home, Benton felt ambivalent. She was excited about working in an environment where people seemed intelligent and sophisticated, but she was disappointed in her brand assignment. Pure and Fresh seemed like such an unnecessary consumer product. She would have preferred a furniture cleaning product because she loved fine furniture and cared about its maintenance. Yet promoting a successful new brand could be exciting, and top management would be likely to pay close attention to its progress. While she was disturbed by Linton's cool welcome and bothered by Scoville's condescending manner, her first impressions had been wrong before, and she would give them the benefit of the doubt.